As I'm recording this, the NFL season is 3 days away. And with that, of course, it's time for NFL award prediction time. I've done this video the past few years and it's pretty fun. And before we get into this year's predictions, I want to go over last year's to see what I got right and mostly what I got wrong. I hope you all enjoy. Leave in the comments your award predictions for 2023 and let's get into it. In 2022, here were my predictions and here were the final results. For the MVP, I picked Patrick Mahomes. And for a while, it seemed like Jalen Hurts was going to win that award, but with his late season injury, it was in fact Patrick Mahomes, so that was 1 for 1. For my offensive player of the year, I picked third-year wide receiver at the time, Justin Jefferson. He went on to lead the league with 128 receptions, over 1,800 yards, and led the NFL in yards per game with 106.4. And Jefferson actually won the award, so now we're 2 for 2. But here's the part where it all goes downhill. For defensive player of the year, I could give myself half credit. I just happened to pick the wrong brother. I picked Joey Bosa to win defensive player of the year last year, and he only played in 5 games. But his brother Nick Bosa played in 16 games and led the NFL in sacks at 18.5 and took home the Defensive Player of the Year in 2022. My 2022 Rookie of the Year pick was Kenny Pickett, and if he played the entire year like he did in the second half, he might have won the award. But as we know, a pair of Jets won the Rookie Awards, and that of course was Garrett Wilson with 83 receptions, over 1,100 yards, and 4 touchdowns. For Defensive Rookie of the Year, I picked Aiden Hutchinson of the Detroit Lions, and while Hutchinson had a great year, played in all 17 games with 3 interceptions, 9.5 sacks, and 30 pressures, the obvious award winner here was Sauce Gardner of the Jets once again. My Comeback Player of the Year award last year pick was Jameis Winston. And his situation last year was very weird. He only started 3 games, and it really seemed like the coaches in New Orleans wanted to give Andy Dalton the starts over Jameis Winston. But as we know, it was Geno Smith who came out of nowhere and took home the honors, leading the NFL in completion percentage, had 30 passing touchdowns to only 11 interceptions, and the Seahawks were surprisingly really good, winning 9 games, when they were probably supposed to win like 4. My Coach of the Year pick, I can't get too hard on myself for this one because the guy won 13 games in his first year as head coach. I picked Kevin O'Connell, but of course it was Brian Daboll, and I do think that was the right choice despite the win-loss record. At least the Vikings had a good amount of talent. The Giants, on the other hand, did not have much talent at all. So those were last year's results. It started out well, but the last 5 picks, I did not get any right. Hopefully this year I can do better. So here we go in 2023. My MVP pick for this year is Justin Herbert, quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers. If you just watched my record prediction and playoff prediction videos, you know I have the Chargers going pretty far. Herbert is top 5 in odds on most sports books, and the 2 main reasons for picking Justin Herbert is A, how badly things went last year. Like for instance, in 2021, the guy had 41 touchdowns, but in 2022 last year, he only had 25. But that of course was with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams barely playing together, and his left tackle Rashawn Slater was out 14 games plus their lone playoff game. And the other main reason is that their offensive coordinator Joe Lombardi, and let's be honest, Lombardi was a absolute disaster for the Chargers. Now it's Kellen Moore calling plays, and he helped Dak Prescott reach new heights. Before Dak's injury in 2020, he was incredible, and in 2021, he put up very good numbers. I still don't know why Dallas let him go, but we'll see if that was the right choice or not. So of course, I expect the Chargers to have team success, which definitely bodes well for any MVP candidate, and I could definitely see a 40-plus touchdown season with over 5,000 passing yards. So if Herbert does that and the Chargers win like 10 or 11 games and make the playoffs and maybe even win their division, then Herbert's a very good pick for the MVP. And I forgot to mention, he did play with broken ribs last year, so that did not help at all. So now completely healthy with better weapons, they drafted a receiver in the first round, Quentin Johnston. I do think it's very possible for Herbert to win MVP in year 4. My 2023 Offensive Player of the Year is Ja'Marr Chase. We forget how good he was last year due to the injury, and once the Bengals figured out how to attack this too-high shell defense, Chase was on pace, sick rhyme, for 190 targets last year if he played in all 17 games. That would have given him totals of 123 catches, over 1,400 yards, and 13 touchdowns. For comparison, Justin Jefferson last year had 128 catches, over 1,800 yards, and 8 touchdowns. It's a very competitive division in the AFC North, and there's a ton of shootout potential. Cincinnati did lose some weapons like Hayden Hurst and Samaje Perine. I just think if Joe Burrow's healthy, that Ja'Marr Chase can put up monster numbers here and possibly get 2,000 yards or around there at least in 2023. For my Defensive Player of the Year pick in 2023, we stay in the AFC North. I'm going with TJ Watt. He missed 7 games last year with that pectoral injury, but he had 22.5 sacks and won Defensive Player of the Year in 2021. I expect the Steelers to be a good team and make the playoffs. He plays on a defensive line with Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith. The Steelers revamped their cornerback room, adding Patrick Peterson and drafting Joey Porter, which may help with some coverage sacks and make Watt's numbers look even better. And TJ is just one of the, if not the best edge rusher in the NFL. He led the NFL in sacks in back-to-back years, and in 2019 led the league in forced fumbles. He has the resume, he just had an unfortunate injury last year. So if he's healthy, which I hope he is, he can definitely win this award for a second time. My 2023 Offensive Rookie of the Year is Bijan Robinson. I mean, it's gotta be Bijan, right? The best running back prospect in half a decade goes to a team that ran the ball the most last year and has a good offensive line. It just feels like a lock, unless he gets hurt. The main three rookie quarterbacks all played for teams who are not supposed to be good, and I could see them struggling early on. Anthony Richardson, as much as I like him, is very raw. The Panthers have a bad offensive line and their weapons are not that great, and the Texans don't have that many receiving weapons and their offensive line has some issues too. Bijan, on the other hand, should have over 300 touches for a team that's projected to have one of the easier schedules in the entire NFL in 2023. Head coach Arthur Smith has a vision with this team, and he was once the OC in Tennessee when Derrick Henry became King Henry. Is King Bijan in our future? I mean, it's not impossible. My 2023 Defensive Rookie of the Year, and this may be a surprise, but I'm picking Jack Campbell of the Detroit Lions. I can poke holes into some of the top guys in this class who are given better odds, like Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, Jalen Carter. Anderson plays for a bad team that no one's going to pay attention to. Tyree Wilson's an absolute monster and I love the guy, but he may not hit right away and has to work on his technique still, and I don't expect the Raiders to be competitive for most of the year. And Jalen Carter plays on such a stacked defensive line, and you know what they say, everybody's got to eat. Campbell, the 18th overall pick, should be a starter day one at linebacker and has a chance to soak up tackles and put up impressive counting stats. The Lions should be competitive and maybe win the North, so that'll help his case as well. He's good in coverage and is actually a very underrated athlete, so if he can get some interceptions, some forced fumbles, some fumble recoveries, and the Lions are good, he can definitely build up the hype to win this award. And maybe this is a dumb argument, but the Lions do play in the first game of the year. All eyes will be on this game, so imagine if Jack Campbell plays well. I mean, if he gets an interception or has a bunch of tackles, the broadcast will talk him up so much that it'll already build steam towards his Defensive Rookie of the Year hopes. I'm just saying, it does help. My 2023 Comeback Player of the Year, it's Damar Hamlin. It's going to be very hard for someone else to win this award if Hamlin plays a decent amount of games and just puts up average numbers. I just can't see anyone taking this award from him. It's a great story, and he should be rewarded for having the courage to come back and play the game that caused him a near fatal incident less than a year ago. So as long as Hamlin plays this year and puts up some decent numbers, I think he should win this award. And lastly, my 2023 Coach of the Year. I'm going with Pete Carroll of the Seattle Seahawks. Maybe this is a bit of a sleeper pick, as Dan Campbell is the heavy favorite in most places, with a lot of other second or first year coaches right behind him, but the 71-year-old Carroll isn't getting much consideration for this award, and crazy enough, Carroll has never won Coach of the Year in the NFL. It must be something with the Seahawks, because remember how Russell Wilson never got MVP votes in Seattle? Like, did they piss somebody off or something? I don't know. But it's time to give him that recognition. And not only do I think the Seahawks will have a great year, I also think there's a chance they can dethrone the 49ers in the West. If that happens, it'll be tough to not give Carroll the recognition he deserves, and for a guy who's never won the award. So that's gonna do it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I want to see in the comments who are your picks for each award this year. Stay tuned, because I'm looking to release my 10 ridiculously bold predictions for this 2023 season. Should be a really fun video. I hope everyone enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys next time.